The 2016 Alexander City Mayoral Forum, live from the Betty Carroll Graham Center on the campus of Central Alabama Community College. Presented by Lake Martin Young Professionals, Lake Martin Area Association of Realtors, Lee Marketing Group, and State Farm agent Karen Channell.
Here on the campus of Central Alabama Community College. My name is Brett Pritchard and I will be your host this evening. As all of you know, we have a very important election coming up on August 23rd. Tonight's forum allows you, the citizens of Alexander City, to meet each of our mayoral candidates and hear their plans on what they want to accomplish for this city. There's been a tremendous amount of planning and time invested in this event by the Lake Martin Young Professionals to ensure that every citizen of Alexander City, whether you were able to be here tonight or not, could hear what these four candidates have to say about their vision for Alexander City. Tonight's forum is being broadcasted live on WAXC Charter Channel 3, 97.5 Pelagic Country, and online. So I would like to thank John Kennedy and Lake Broadcasting Incorporated for providing live coverage of tonight's event. So for all of you who are watching or listening through TV, radio, or internet, I would like to welcome you, and of course, a big welcome to all of you who have shown up tonight in attendance. Thank you for coming. I know our candidates appreciate it. I'd like to recognize those who made this event possible through their sponsorship: Karen Channell State Farm Insurance, LMG, Lake Martin Area Association of Realtors, and of course, the Lake Martin Young Professionals. I would also like to thank Dr. Susan Burrow, President of Central Alabama Community College, for allowing this forum to take place here tonight in the Betty Carroll Graham Technology Center. I think we can all agree that we are very blessed to have such a wonderful facility here in Alexander City. Rules for tonight. Tonight's forum will be divided into 4 segments: candidate introductions, candidate questions, resident submitted questions, and closing statements and rebuttals. There will be no rebuttals from the candidates regarding how someone answers a particular question during candidate questions and resident submitted question segments. If a candidate wishes to rebut a point or a statement, they will have the opportunity to do so in the closing statements segment at the end. Just a few reminders to all of you in attendance: please make sure your cell phones are turned off or on silent. Also, please refrain from talking while the moderator or candidates are talking. There will be a 5-minute break following each segment of the forum in which you can talk, move around, mingle if you choose to do so. In just a few minutes, each of the candidates will have the opportunity to introduce themselves. The order of how each candidate will go was determined last week at a pre-forum briefing in which the candidates drew numbers. Here is that order: Charles Shaw, Mark Fuller, Mark Lamborne, and Jim Nabors. At this time, I would like to introduce our moderator for tonight's forum, Dr. Bridget King. Dr. King is an assistant professor in the Department of Political Science at Auburn University. She teaches graduate and undergraduate courses in state and local government, American government, the presidency, political participation, and public policy. Her research interests focus on political participation, such as the effect of state-level voting policies like voter ID, felon disenfranchisement on voter turnout. Prior to joining Auburn, Dr. King was a voting rights researcher at the Brennan Center for Justice at the New York University School of Law. While at Kent State, Dr. King coordinated the McNair Scholars Program aimed at boosting the number of low-income, first-generation, and underrepresented college students who pursue doctoral degrees. She is a regular contributor to professional development courses offered through the Election Center. Dr. King earned a bachelor's degree from Hampton University, a master's degree and doctorate degree from Kent State University. At this time, let's give a warm Alexander City welcome to Dr. Bridget King. And with that, Dr. King, it's your show.
All right, thank you. All right, so joining us this evening, we have 4 candidates for mayor. First, current mayor, Charles Shaw. Also, Mr. Mark Fuller, lieutenant in the Alabama Marine Police. Mr. Mark Lamborne, the owner of Bill's Electrical Contractors. And lastly, Mr. Jim Nabors, who's the current board chairman of Russell Medical Center. At this time, each candidate will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves and explain to the audience here and those watching at home or on the radio why you are running for mayor. We will begin with Mayor Shaw.
I would like to welcome everyone to this forum and thank you for joining us today. My name is Charles Shaw and I am the current mayor of Alexander City. Before becoming your mayor, I was a local small business owner since 1977. I was Tallapoosa County Commissioner from 2002 to 2012. In 2012, I took over the mayor's office at the time when our city was attempting to rebound after the loss of so many Russell jobs. At that time, I noticed so much energy here, and I was confident at Alexander City to take that energy and attract new business to replace those lost jobs. Today, I feel that we are now traveling in the right direction and achieving success more and more each year. I would like to continue the excitement and accelerate the progress that we have been making to create opportunities for citizens of Alexander City. I assure you that we face a bright future if we continue on the path we started. I am committed to solve the problem that the city faces while continuing to take the right steps in securing new job opportunities for our people. I, along with some of the talented city employees, have a plan in place to ensure that Alexander City is a thriving, healthy, and innovative city for all. I have aggressively pursued new opportunities to attract small business as well as major employees. For example, the Printer Group, Corey, MTJ, having recently opened, a Printer Group has, they came in and got a Russell building. MTJ is moving to Elliott City and Corey starting production in the next few months and put hundreds of people back to work. Also, we have made road improvements like the Central Boulevard project, the Broad Street project, which make our city more attractive. Also, we have the money to pay Washington Street, Lee Street, a new bridge on Scott Road, Sportsplex Bridge. The decorative travel signal pole in front of Wells Fargo downtown will be completed by the year's end. We just completed the North Parallel Taxiway. We've been approved for an additional 8 to 10 T-hangers at the airport. Also, we have made road improvements like the Central Boulevard project will be completed by the middle of October, which makes our city more attractive. We're continuing to work on the Avondale Business Park to be able to offer office space to new industry. We have partnered with others in the city on major renovation of projects at the Hampline Stadium. We have added a new soccer complex, a new baseball field house, and our sports space. Our IT department is working with our other employees at City Hall to create a new interactive website that will be loaded with valuable information. On this website, you will be able to link to all city resolutions and ordinances. Once we have this in place, you will not have to wonder.
Thank you, Mayor Shaw.
You gotta stop.
Mr. Fuller.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having us. Thank you for being here. My name is Mark Fuller. My background is right out of high school. I joined the United States Marine Corps. I intended to have a career in law enforcement. In the military, but some unforeseen circumstances prevented that, so I came back home. At that time, I started my law enforcement career in 1991 with the city of Alexander City. In 1999, I had the opportunity to go to work for the state, and that's where I've been since. This is my 25th year in law enforcement. I currently serve as a lieutenant for the Department of Public Safety and Marine Patrol Division. I supervise 32 patrolmen in 32 counties of the central and southern part of state of Alabama. First of all, with my remarks, I'd like to apologize to the citizens of Alex City. My current job responsibilities prevents me from having the time to come knock on your doors to solicit your vote. For that, I'm sorry. I do need your vote, and I appreciate your support and vote on August 23rd. Well, why are we here tonight? Well, at least 3/4 of us are not happy with the current state of our city government. I'm here because I feel like I'm that candidate that can completely execute the duties of the mayor. If elected, I will conduct city business using 4 simple principles. Those principles are accountability, honesty, integrity, and transparency. Accountability, I will hold the city employees accountable to do the job that they're hired to do on a daily basis. Honesty, if I'm in the mayor's office, I will do everything legally, ethically, and morally right. Integrity, if elected, I will do what is right for Alex City, not for one individual, not for one group, but for all of Alex City as a whole. I will treat all people equally. Transparency, if you, the taxpayers, want to know information about city government, I'll get you the information you need to know. By managing the city with these principles, it will be more difficult for anyone to be negative toward the city or the city government. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not stand up here and give you empty campaign promises. If I make a campaign promise or a promise to you and I can't deliver, then I've lied to you, and that doesn't fit in with my 4 principles. I will not promise you that I will pave your road. I will not promise you that I can get industry here that's going to pay $20 an hour jobs. I cannot promise you that we'll have the best school system in the state of Alabama. But I will tell you that I'll work hard with the city council, whoever that will be, to make improvements on all these areas and more. I will make you a couple of guarantees. If elected, our city will be cleaner and safer. Our city employees will provide a service that is both friendly and efficient. The citizens of Alex City will get all utilities at a rate as cheaply as we can possibly afford. Thank you.
Excuse me. Mr. Lamborne?
Good evening. My name is Mark Lamborne, and I am seeking the office of mayor of the city of Alexander City. I'm a lifelong resident of Alexander City, and I graduated from the Alexander City school system and the Alexander City Junior College. My wife, Johnette Lamborne, and I have been married for 31 years. We have 2 sons, Wesley, who is married to Lane Moore, and Brady, who is married to Abby Reddy. I am a member of the First United Methodist Church, where I have served on the administrative board and also served as chairman of the board of trustees. I was the president of the Chamber of Commerce and presently serve on the board of Main Street. I am a sitting board member for the Alabama Electrical Contractors Board and have served on numerous other boards around the state in various positions. I am a certified Alabama Planning and Zoning official and presently serve as chairman of the Alexander City Planning Board, as well as chairman of the Alexander City Industrial Development Board. Since 1961, I have owned and operated Bill's electrical construction firm located here in Alexander City. After watching our city government deal with political unrest, personal animosity, and financial insecurity for the past 4 years, I feel that we, the citizens of Alexander City, deserve better. In order for our city to move forward, we must unify city government, ensure that our financial records are maintained in a timely manner, and ensure that our city operates within the established rules and regulations. I have been dismayed and saddened at the amount of political division between our city government and their inability to progress this city forward. I consider myself fortunate to be able to live and work in our city, but now it is time for change. We need to bring in new faces, progressive thinking, and most importantly, progressive action. Our elected officials' job should be to ensure community safety, promote a positive environment for our families to live in, students to learn in, and businesses to grow in. The city we knew is no more, and we must move forward. We live in a remarkable community filled with talented and educated people who share a deep appreciation for our beautiful city. We have what it takes to make this a thriving, economically viable, and sustainable community. I believe that the foundation for any community should include education, the arts, shopping, and recreation. As your next mayor, I will work to enhance these ideas attract diverse industries that will provide new and well-paying jobs. Alexander City may have stumbled, but with the right leadership, we can get up and move forward. I plan on providing you that leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Lamborne. Mr. Nabors.
It's an honor to seek this vitally important leadership role. My name is Jim Nabors, and I moved to Alexander City in 1968 at the age of 26. All three of my sons graduated from the RHS and moved on to successful careers. Being one of 10 children growing up on a working farm in Chilton County, I learned how to share and get along early in life. My oldest sister died at Chapman's Friday night and was buried this morning in Hanover, Houston County. I cannot remember a time when the qualifications to be mayor of our city are more important than they are today. As a proven leader, having served as CFO and director of a Fortune 500 company, and later as superintendent of the Alexander City school system, I've demonstrated the ability to deliver much-needed changes in the city's accounting, budget, and reporting functions. All the negative publicity about leadership and financial issues harms our image and makes our economic development efforts just that much more difficult. Opportunities have been delayed or lost forever. A positive image of the city, beginning with the mayor and staff, and accurate and timely financial reporting are essential to help initiate and close the recruiting efforts of our Lake Martin Area Economic Development Authority, as well as our own chamber, which is blessed with good leadership there as well. Our leadership roles, other leadership roles I have performed beyond Russell Corporation and the Alexander School System include, but not limited to, the following: serving as chairman of the Russell Medical Center, director of the Lion Bank, chairman of the Judson College, president of the Benjamin Robert Russell Foundation. Not to be considered for mayor of Alexander City.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That concludes the first segment of our forum. We will take a 5-minute break and return with more of the Lake Martin Young Professional Mayoral Forum here live at Central Alabama Community College.
Hello, I'm State Farm Agent Karen Channell. I specialize in helping families and individuals like yourself in the Alexander City and Lake Martin communities. With over 20 years experience with State Farm and a dynamic team of licensed professionals, I am committed to helping you manage the risk of everyday life. And we not only consider it an honor, but a privilege to assist you in meeting your insurance and financial services needs. Whether you call in, click in, or walk in, I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
You can learn to DIY just about anything.
Today, I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself in a court of law. It's important to wear a fancy suit. That way, if they ask for evidence, you can point to it and say, Exhibit A.
After all, some things are better left to the pros, like buying a home, because without an expert to guide you, you could be headed for trouble.
If you're backed into a corner, throw out a few objections. Works every time.
So DIY yourself a favor and get Realtor. Head to Realtor.com/GetRealtor today. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
Lake Martin Young Professionals is a group that coordinates, collaborates, and promotes events around the Lake Martin area that are social, volunteer, or informational in nature. Our board connects young Lake Martin with activities that will help to improve the careers, social lives, and character of our members. We would love for you to be a part of our group and to help grow the young professional community of Lake Martin. Visit LakeMartinYP.com or Facebook.com/Lake Martin Young Professionals to stay informed of upcoming events or to join.
Association of Realtors. Now we're moving into the candidate question portion of the forum. These will be a mix of questions related to current city affairs and mayoral job responsibilities. Again, there will be no rebuttals from candidates during this time. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes at the conclusion of the forum to make a closing statement and can use any or all of that time for rebuttals if they choose to do so. Turn it over at this time again to our moderator, Dr. King.
Thank you, Brett. All right, gentlemen, your first question is as follows. What is your first priority as mayor, and what specific actions will you take to address that priority? We will begin with Mayor Shaw.
The question was, what is my first priority?
What actions will you take to address that
My
priority?
first priority would be to continue as we have been. We plan to continue working with the department heads, each one of our department heads, and continue to move forward, the city forward. We have also worked with EDA and the chamber, more so with the EDA and bringing jobs to town. And we feel like we've accomplished that so far, and we continue to work with them. As a matter of fact, we're working on a project right now that will probably bring up to 400 jobs to our city, and it's moving along quite well. So that's my main priority. Of course, our schools, our infrastructure, we continue to work on infrastructure. As you know, we have paved roads this time. We continue to work on that. We paved about 20 miles of road, or maybe more. First time any roads have been paved in about 20 years in the city, so we plan to continue to do that. So just on our infrastructure, on the job we got already planned.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fuller?
If elected, my first priority would be to get our financial situation in order. I would complete an audit, see it all the way through to the end, find out where our finances are, what accounts we have, where the money belongs, put it in the right places. And during that process, if I found anybody that has taken anything that does not belong to them, I would first terminate them, and then I would prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. In the meantime, during the process, I would remove anybody who there was doubt about as to whether or not they may have taken anything that did not belong to them, remove them from the ability to continue to handle any money. After that, I would just meet with my city department heads, find out the issues at hand, and begin putting them to work to efficiently run the day-to-day operations of the city.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lamborne?
My first priority is, if elected mayor, would be to try or not to try to unify our city government once again. The personnel, city hall, the chamber, the mayor, all must be back working as one group. Without that, we cannot do anything. We can't work on finances. We can't work on industrial development. Only until we can unify everybody back and work as a single group toward the best interest of the city of Alexander City, we're lost. So the first thing I do is try to unify our people back together into one group.
Thank you. Also, gentlemen, can you please take the mics out of the stands when answering? They're having difficulty hearing you in the back. Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
My top priority would be to restore faith in our city government. My leadership has given me the ability to accomplish that. I would bring associates that I've had in the past in and help me evaluate the system, internal controls, and get our financial reporting back on time in a timely and reliable manner. But at the same time, I would encourage those that are doing a great job in our support departments, protection, fire and police protection, the utilities, maintenance. Those departments need to be cheered on as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here's the next question, and it's rather long and detailed. In many parts of town, it is clear to see that many of our neighborhoods, specifically those heavy in rentals, are deteriorating and many city codes are left unenforced. Under a previous administration, the city hired a code enforcement officer to assist the building official in enforcing hundreds of pages of adopted building codes, laws, and ordinances. Many feel that the code enforcement officer made a positive impact on the aesthetics of Alexander. Would you support the hiring of at least one code enforcement officer to assist the building inspector in enforcing ordinances and laws that are currently on the books? Why or why not? We'll begin with Mr. Fuller.
Well, first of all, I was a city councilman when we had that code enforcement officer in effect. I'm a strong believer in having a code enforcement officer. If elected, I will work with the city council to put that position back into effect. You are correct. Our city's neighborhoods and our streets have deteriorated. We can do better. We must do better if we want to attract any outside businesses, both small or large, or any families. We definitely and desperately need young families to come to our area. So without a clean city, we're not very successful in bringing those families in. So I do favor it. I would work with the council to renew that position, and I would put that position not under the mayor's office, but under the police department.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
I too would agree that a code enforcement official is necessary within the city of Alexander City, and possibly even two. They would reorganize the building department in itself by initiating a certified city planner, which would then be head of these things. They would control the building department and code enforcement. There are plenty of rules and regulations we have on the books now. And if we're not going to enforce them, let's take them off the books. And there are several new rules that we need to have on our books. Rental laws that would regulate rental houses and make sure that they are up to date and feasible for people to live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
I too would support the coding. I also would like to see neighborhood ordinances be helped by the city government. We have a practice of letting the neighborhood enforce the local ordinances, and that sometimes is a very difficult situation to put neighbors in. But I support good enforcement of ordinances, and as some have said, if we're not going to enforce them, we need to take them off the books.
Thank you. Mayor Shaw.
Well, I support code enforcement officer. Also, the building inspector does them both right now, and it's pretty hard for him. He's not a sworn officer, so he cannot swear out warrants for people, so he can't arrest people for cars, junk, what have you, on the streets. So we do need a code enforcement officer that would be sworn in. We was asked to cut the budget some, cut employees some, cut our staff, so that's the reason we don't have a code enforcement officer. But I do agree, if we had a code enforcement that worked on the police department, was a sworn officer, then we could get more done in the neighborhoods and create. And there's ways to get around these laws. Cars not supposed to be sitting there without up on block. People to set them on block, then they put tires and move around the other side of the house. So they drive them, move them. So we have people who do try to get around the laws to break those. But we do have plans, and that was one of the things we were going to ask for in the new budget this year to see if we could get a code enforcement officer to help the building code officer.
Thank you, sir. All right. The next question. Although the position of finance director is hired by the city council, the person in that role works closely with the mayor on an array of issues related to city finances. What kind of proven financial background or experience would you, as the chief elected official of the city, bring to the table that will help our city recover from its current financial struggles? We will begin with Mr. Lamborne.
The last 30 years, I've run and operated my own company, which brings the day-to-day operations of a budget, manipulating money the way you need to do it, bringing in and out of your company. Also, I've had the honor to work with the Corps of Engineers on military bases all over the world, negotiating multi-million-dollar contracts, and setting budgets and operation series that we go through. There's a lot of things that the mayor must do to work with the chief financial officer in the town, and it must be a very good working relationship, and that's the only way that we can move forward.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors.
This is an area where my expertise exists. I would hope that the city council would take my recommendation on hiring a CFO. It's the responsibility of the mayor and the CFO to make sure we have the internal controls necessary to prohibit any kind of errors in reporting, any kind of missing property. That's as much a problem associated with the leadership as it is the person that enters the city with bad decisions. But that's something I've been doing since I got out of college and entered the certified public accounting profession. I would hope that the council would let the mayor recommend and approve the chief financial officer of the city.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Shaw.
Okay, as you said, the finance director is hired by the council, but on a day-to-day basis, they do work under the mayor. As you know, that's where our weak link is in the city right now, is our finances. We have two sets of auditors here working. We've got auditors that are working to do our audits, and we got an auditor here that's working to do her job. She has been sent home twice. I sent her home twice. Some of the council chose to bring her back both times. I think we had enough evidence to keep her at home, but it was a vendetta against me. So that's the reason we got the weak link in the finances. My hands are tied. I can't do anything else. I can send her home. I can do all I can to get her to do her job, but when she can't do it, she can't do it at the end of the day. If the council continues to bring her back, we'll continue to have financial woes until this administration is over. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fuller.
Well, first of all, the mayor and the financial director does have to have a good working relationship. They have to be able to communicate to get the job done. Secondly, the mayor has really very little to do with finances other than to review with the department heads a budget and submit a completed budget to the council for approval. So the mayor, although he does run the day-to-day operations of the city, finances is not one of his major responsibilities. Should not be.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Next question. Other than increasing taxes, what are some new forms of revenue generation that you would like to see the city explore? Or what assets can be leveraged to pump more money into our local economy? We will begin with Mr. Nabors. I'll repeat the question.
I did not understand your question.
Okay. Other than increasing taxes, what are some new forms of revenue generation that you would like to see the city explore? Or what assets that currently exist in the city can we leverage to put more money into our local economy?
Well, we're, for the most part, a sales tax-based economy as far as the city is concerned. I think the current sales tax rates are as high as they should be, probably higher than they should be. When I was superintendent of education, I tried to get a property tax and failed in that effort. But attracting retail, as the current tax rate structure is in place, is the biggest cash generator that we have. Making sure it gets to the right places, education and otherwise, but also be a priority.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Shaw?
I think our tax is as high as it needs to be now. It's comparable to some of the other cities around. I don't like to raise tax. The council did raise tax half-cent to put toward roads this past term, and it's being put toward road. It was raised to put toward asphalt, so you see where your money's going there. It is going for asphalt, which is a good thing. It's getting roads paid. I don't see any way that we could raise taxes in any way that might bring in any more money. The county has put a 1 cent sale tax since the city put the half cent, so which it makes ours at 10 now. So it's going to be hard to raise any kind of taxes. More retail, more industry coming to town. The more industry we get, the more paychecks we have to spending money here. They may drive from some other city or some other town to work here, but most of the time they'll spend the money when they get the payday here. So if we can attract more industry through the EDA and the EDA is working very hard, the city is working very hard with them to attract more, plus retail through the chamber.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fuller?
I don't think we need to raise the taxes anymore whatsoever. I think they're as high as they can possibly be without further hurting our small businesses. I would work with the chamber and the EDA to seek out several different options. One being going to the northern states that have union jobs. Try to entice those companies to relocate to our community, our state, and our community. And by doing that, they can afford to pay a good salary while still maintaining a good profit margin. I'd like to see the chamber explode our area with small business and retail along the shorelines of Lake Martin. I think they would do well there. We got to get people to come to Lake Martin to stay and not just to come visit Lake Martin and leave after a weekend of fun.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
Alex City is in a unique situation with its utility department. We have a massive overload of processed water that can be used and marketed throughout other local communities in the area. In search of industry, if we would look forward to bringing industries that use a lot of water, use a lot of gas, it helps us in doing that. It's not the things that we can do every day, but maybe part of the criteria we want to look at. And promoting our city to a better tourist area that also brings more people into town to use the city and pay the sales tax. And it really doesn't come out of our pocket. It comes out of the people who are touring through our town.
Thank you. Next question. What is your strategy for recruiting new retail and industrial businesses to Alexander City? We will begin with Mayor Shaw. Shall I repeat the question? Okay. What is your strategy for recruiting new retail and industrial businesses to Alexander City?
Well, the strategy now is to try to bring industry into the industrial park. We bought property and it is paid for. We don't owe anything on it. 117 acres, 113 acres from Avondale. If we put a company there, and the company that we're dealing with already got here, Corey, planned to expand in 2019 or 2020, they will go to the industrial park. We own all the utilities on that, so we'll start reaping our money back from that. They will be using quite a bit of water. And on the water situation, we are selling water to 9 different entities around Evans City. Everybody that's in close proximity is being sold water from Evans City right now. As far as other retail, as we continue to improve downtown, or as we continue to try to attract businesses out on Highway 280, that's where we get the most traffic every day. We get 25,000 cars a day on average that passes up and down Highway 280. So industry's there. As we continue to improve downtown, that'll bring more retail in also.
Thank you. Mr. Fuller?
But I'd like to market Alex City as the best recreational town or city in the state of Alabama. There are cities across the country that are thriving off of youth sports. We have one of the top-notch youth facilities in the sportplex in the state. We also have acquired the Russell Complex and the Byers Field area that the mayor just talked about. We have to spend some money in the sportplex to get it back up to the condition that once was. I look at that as spending money to make money. By hosting tournaments on a regular basis here, we bring people in from all over the state or all over the region. They're going to eat in our restaurants and sleep in our hotels. As you know, lodging taxes are one of the highest taxes in the state. So that's going to increase our revenue tremendously. That's where I would look to market Alex City as a recreational town.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
In the retail industry, I would like to develop a full set of incentives written down on paper, where once a business wanted to locate in Oak City, they know exactly what the city is willing to offer them to recruit them to come to this city. Industrial wise, we can improve our general overall appeal to Elliott City through our arts, through our schools, through our employees. We have a positive attitude toward this. It helps tremendously in recruiting businesses. Business recruiters may not spend but one day in Elliott City, only to speak to a few people who have a negative comment. So we must improve our attitude toward our own city before others will think good of us too.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
I agree that the biggest problem we have in attracting the industry is the image that we currently have. We've got an economic development authority. We've got the Chamber of Commerce with a unique individual that's helped recruit the industry before. As I said earlier, we've got to restore faith in our city government. We've seen possible businesses that had planned to come to town and just decided it was not the appropriate time because of all the negative publicity we've had. We've got to correct that first, and then I agree with all the other issues concerning different areas to concentrate on as far as industries and businesses.
Thank you. Okay. What are your plans to expedite the cleanup and revitalization of the former Russell campus, and what do you see as opportunities for development of that area? We will begin with Mr. Fuller.
Well, first off, I would like to speak with the current property owner, whoever owns that property and the contractor they have chosen to clean up the area, and see if we couldn't speed the process along. There's no pressure being placed on them that I'm aware of, and they're doing it a little bit at a time at their own leisure. I would work with the council and any other entity in the city that could put pressure on them. Unfortunately, it's against the law to use city equipment on private property, so that wouldn't be an avenue we could see. But just apply pressure where we could apply pressure to see if they could get it cleaned up. And once that's done, I would just go wherever we could to attract an industry to come in there and establish residents within Alexander City.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
We're in a unique situation on this piece of property. The city of Elliott City permitted the demolition of those buildings. It's no way to go back and tell them, no, you can't. Yes, we can provide a working environment with those people to try to get them to rush it up, but it's private property, and we're at a point that that's basically where it is. There now, we, as a planning board, we came back and rezoned that property and put an overlay on the Lee Street section that would allow for that property to be having an architectural review before buildings could be built on. so that we can use that entry into Elliott City to be the welcoming point by downtown area.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
I think that property needs to be looked at as an opportunity for Alexander City. I would try to get an owner and some site developer together, an opportunity to use public and private funds as a economic development project, and move that forward a little bit quicker than what I think people assume we can do.
Thank you. Mayor Shaw?
Okay, as it's been, that is a privately owned piece of property, but it was sold through the Loon Corporation, sold it to them and told them they didn't put anything in the contract to tear it down at a reasonable time and clean it up. What's reasonable to them is not reasonable to the city. Yes, we have put pressure on them. We've talked to Darrell Saucier of Freedom Fuel that owns that. There's not much, and they always tell us they tear and demolition it by what the price of it is. When the metal was up, they got all the metal out of it. Now that pretty much all it is wood and grinding the cement. That's pretty expensive, takes a long time to get that done. I think when we complete the other part of the road through there, when we get grant money, that will help. The city tried to buy 17 acres from Darrell Saucier. We were going to make an industrial park. He asked us $162,000 an acre. Nobody would pay that. So the property owner is going to have to work with the city and be reasonable if he sells any property out there. So it's a long time down the road, I think, being cleaned up.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next question. On August 23rd, residents of Alexander City will not only vote for city council and mayor, but they'll also vote on whether or not to allow the sale of alcohol on Sundays. Do you support the sale of alcohol on Sundays, and give reasons why or why not? We will begin with Mr. Lamborne.
I was glad to see that our present city council brought this up and give it to the citizens to vote on. I have no problem with it. I think it's an idea that can be used to the benefit of our city in both tax revenue and through the tourist industry. These people are generally in areas that allow Sunday alcohol sales. My point is, it should be my choice. You should not tell other people what they should have to do. If you don't want to drink on Sunday or purchase on Sunday, that's your choice, and it's not for me to tell you that you have to.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
My pastor would probably disagree with what I'm about to say. He tells me it's one brick at a time, but at this point, it's an economic decision that we need to make. And as the council has done, it's going to be left to the people. But I would support Sunday sales to attract new restaurants and whatever in the town.
Thank you. Mayor Shaw?
Okay, as mayor, I don't have a vote on the council. I don't have a vote on anything at council meeting. They're trying to use it as an economic thing. I don't drink. I'm against the alcohol. I don't think alcohol is the answer to our problems. I think it may bring some extra money into town. I don't know if it will, but that's what they are expecting out of it, to bring more money into town. I'm against any of the alcohol, especially on Sunday. I just don't think it's a thing that we need to be doing to try to save our city with alcohol money. So it may be an economic thing. It may bring money into town. But I do think it'll be up to the people. So if the people want it, then I've got to support whatever they vote in. I won't support it if I spend my money on it, but I've got to support anything, whatever the council passes, I have to support it as mayor. And if we have Sunday sales, then I've got to support that. We've got to take the money and use it in the best way possible to benefit our city.
Thank you. Mr. Fuller?
Well, I'm kind of in agreement with everybody. It doesn't directly affect me, but I'm glad that the people have a vote on this. I don't like some government, whether it be federal government, state government, or city council, telling me what I can and can't do. We still live in a democratic society, so whatever the will of the people is, that will be where we will go. If we pass the resolution and we sell alcohol, then we need to seriously seek out small businesses and restaurants, retail, that will increase our tax revenue. just to pass an ordinance, but what we already have here, I don't think it's going to be a great benefit. We've got to entice more retail in the food and beverage sector to reap the rewards and benefits of Sunday alcohol sales.
Last question. I have a cold, I apologize. Last question. How do you view the city's role in supporting our educational systems in creating an educated workforce and also bolstering the school system as a recruitment tool for newcomers? Shall I read it again? Yes? Yes. Yes, I will.
It's difficult for us to hear you.
Oh, okay. How do you view the city's role in supporting our educational systems in creating an educated workforce and also bolstering the school system as a recruitment tool for newcomers? We'll begin with Mr. Nabors.
As a former superintendent of education, I certainly think the city should provide the necessary funds for a good school system. And at this point, they're doing that. The school system is okay financially. It's a key part of recruiting industry, a key part of keeping families in town. We're having debate over children not being able to come to our school system, but there's no better way to spend money than on educating our children.
Thank you. Mayor Shaw?
Okay, I think the city's putting all the money they can at this point in time in there. I think our school system, the great school system, I think the college, the CACC here, the technology center, the workforce development that they have here. I think also we're having instructors from the college here going into school with dual enrollment. I think they're going in and encouraging people that are not going to a four-year college to come here, get a education, learn a trade or some type of job out here. I think that's a benefit to our city. We'll also have the Gateway to Education program. That's where if you graduate Benjamin Russell High School with a 2.5, I think, graduation score, then you get 2 years free tuition here, free to the college. I think that's a benefit that the people have made available to continue to educate our people. So I think any company that comes here will have a good educated workforce.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Foley?
Well, as a former city councilman, I know that the city puts a large chunk of money towards the school system's utilities. In addition to that, we provide police force, our police coverage at all city school events. Schools are required by law to have law enforcement there. We provide law enforcement at no cost to the schools. We have taken groups to collect money for parking at the sportplex and given that to the schools in some form or fashion. The city's partnered with CACC to offer the Gateway Scholarship Program. So we're doing as much as we can, I think, to support our school systems. We need new school system, our new school buildings. Benjamin Russell High School, Jim Pearson, Stevens, these schools are decades old, and eventually we're going to have to look at possibly building new schools. And there's where we're really going to have to support the school system.
Thank you. Mr. McCord?
The city of Alexander City decided to create their own school system. They weren't required to, but since we did create a school system, I think it's up to us to finance it and support it in the best way we can. The school system is a founding base for recruitment of industry. Industry wants good, educated employees. And without a good school system, we're not going to lead it. The school system is a means to keep the employees here in town. Instead of living in Auburn to go to school, we want that medium-class people to stay here and live in Alexander City. And being with a good school system is a good starting point.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the questions for this segment. Brett?
Thank you, Dr. King. That takes us to the top of the hour break, so we will take another 5-minute break here. And when we return, we'll have more of the Lake Martin Young Professionals Mayoral right here at Central Alabama Community College.
Hello, I'm State Farm Agent Karen Channell. I specialize in helping families and individuals like yourself in the Alexander City and Lake Martin communities. With over 20 years experience with State Farm and a dynamic team of licensed professionals, I am committed to helping you manage the risk of everyday life. And we not only consider it an honor, but a privilege to assist you in meeting your insurance and financial services needs. Whether you call in, click in, or walk in, I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
You can learn to DIY just about anything.
Today, I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself in a court of law. It's important to wear a fancy suit. That way, if they ask for evidence, you can point to it and say, Exhibit A.
After all, some things are better left to the pros, like buying a home, because without an expert to guide you, you could be headed for trouble.
If you're backed into a corner, throw out a few objections. Works every time.
So DIY yourself a favor and get Realtor. Head to Realtor.com/GetRealtor today. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
Lake Martin Young Professionals is a group that coordinates, collaborates, and promotes events around the Lake Martin area that are social, volunteer, or informational in nature. Our board connects young Lake Martin with activities that will help to improve the careers, social lives, and character of our members. We would love for you to be a part of our group and to help grow the young professional community of Lake Martin. Visit LakeMartinYP.com or Facebook.com/Lake Martin Young Professionals to stay informed of upcoming events or to join.
Hello, I'm State Farm Agent Karen Channell. I specialize in helping families and individuals like yourself in the Alexander City and Lake Martin communities. With over 20 years experience with State Farm and a dynamic team of licensed professionals, I am committed to helping you manage the risk of everyday life. And we not only consider it an honor, but a privilege to assist you in meeting your insurance and financial services needs. Whether you call in, click in, or walk in, I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
You can learn to DIY just about anything.
Today, I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself in a court of law. It's important to wear a fancy suit. That way, if they ask for evidence, you can point to it and say, Exhibit A.
After all, some things are better left to the pros, like buying a home, because without an expert to guide you, you could be headed for trouble.
If you're backed into a corner, throw out a few objections. Works every time.
So DIY yourself a favor and get Realtor. Head to Realtor.com/GetRealtor today. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
Lake Martin Young Professionals is a group that coordinates, collaborates, and promotes events around the Lake Martin area that are social, volunteer, or informational in nature. Our board connects young Lake Martin with activities that will help to improve the careers, social lives, and character of our members. We would love for you to be a part of our group and to help grow the young professional community of Lake Martin. Visit LakeMartinYP.com or Facebook.com/Lake Martin Young Professionals to stay informed of upcoming events or to join.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Martin Young Professionals 2016 Alex City Mayoral Forum presented by Karen Channell, State Farm Insurance, LNG, and Lake Martin Area Association of Realtors. We'll now move into the resident submitted questions portion of the forum. These questions were submitted by Alexander City residents on social media and by members of the audience as they walked in tonight. Members of the Lake Martin Young Professionals Board of Directors have selected the questions that will be asked based on the most popular questions received. This time I'll turn it back over to Dr. King.
Thank you, gentlemen. Turn to your podiums, please. All right, our first question, can you hear me? Okay, our first question comes from Larry Jennings of Ridgeway Drive. With Alexander City having a $500 million annual operating budget, what is your position on the hiring of a professional manager or a city manager to be responsible for the day-to-day operations of the city, and why do you support that position? Do we need it? Okay. With Alexander City having a $500 million annual operating budget, what is your position on the hiring of a professional manager or a city manager to be responsible for the day-to-day operations of the city, and why do you support that position?
50 million.
50 million. What did I say? I meant 50. I apologize. I apologize. I am so sorry. A minor detail. Is there any repeat question? Are we good on the question? Yes. Mayor Shaw, you're first.
Go first. Okay, well, I'm glad that's the reason I asked you to repeat that amount of money. But I still didn't get, I had my mind on the 500 million. So will you repeat the question again?
I will try.
Okay.
With Alexander City having a $50 million annual operating budget, what is your position on the hiring of a professional manager or a city manager to be responsible for the day-to-day operations of the city, and why do you support that position?
I don't think we need a city manager or a professional manager. You got the mayor council to do that. If they work together, then you can change. If you hire a city manager, they're going to have to answer to the council. The people are not going to have a choice in who they have. They have a choice now. If they don't like who's the city manager, they can vote them out after 4 years. City manager, form of government, I think that the city needs to be the one that votes the people in and that appoints them, not just the council or not just somebody to come in and appoint them. I feel like the way it is now, the council and mayor, if they'll work together and can work together, then you got the best system it could be in the size city we got. So I'm in favor, and I'm not in favor, I'm in favor of the mayor, council, form of government we got right now. I think it worked well when everybody works together.
Thank you. Mr. Fuller?
Well, first of all, if we had a $500 million budget, we wouldn't be in the situation we are now. We have plenty of money to do whatever we wanted. Unfortunately, we don't. If I was in favor of a manager position, I wouldn't be up here right now. So no, I'm not in favor of the manager position, a city manager position. I don't think the city can afford currently another high-paying salary in City Hall. We do need a professional mayor that's capable of leading the city employees, conducting the day-to-day operations of the city, managing the city utilities. Working hand in hand with the city council, I believe we can accomplish anything we set our minds to.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
I believe that the day-to-day management of the city by an appointed professional administrator would help in the efficiency and overall consistency of the delivery of services that are required by the city. There's a trend in the United States of moving toward a professional management. The electoral process that has worked real good over the years in Alexander City cannot guarantee that the next person elected will have the caliber of a person being able to manage the $50 million budget within their consistency.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Nabors?
I would support a city manager. I think history has shown us in the last 4 years that the skill sets for managing the business of the city have not been done properly. I think the city manager can come on board, not at the rates that some people quote, but in my opinion, our city employees deserve more consistency in leadership, supervision, and their job should not be jeopardized by political environments. So I would support a city manager concept.
Thank you. The next question was submitted by Rick Silva of River Oaks Drive. The current administration has proven to be unprofessional, ineffective, and certainly has not operated as a team looking out for the good of the city or its citizens. The adverse publicity this behavior has generated has certainly soiled Alex City's name and reputation. I would like to know what definitive actions you will take, if elected, to bring back the good name of Alex City that will allow us to attract new businesses and make it great once again for our future generations. Do I need to repeat the question? Yeah. All right, we will begin with Mr. Fuller.
Well, first of all, as I stated earlier, if I were elected, I would run the mayor's office ethically, legally, and morally sound in every decision I made. I would work professionally with the city council. As mayor, again, my primary duties is to be responsible for the city employees, the day-to-day operations of the city, and to oversee the utilities. I have to know my role in that position and allow the city council to do their role as city council people. Our system of government is set up just like state and federal. We have the judicial, the executive, and the legislative branch. Once we start to venture outside of our respective roles, chaos ensues, unprofessional conduct happens, and that's where we are today. So I would work to stay within my role and adhere to my duties as mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
Once again, we must unify our city government. We cannot go forward. We got to provide a promoted, make the city look better. That goes from city employees to the public citizens out here. To promote industry within our city, we must be thinking of our city as a great place. We must think of people who come here as visitors that want to come and live here. You promote your own city from within. That's one of the greatest things that we can do.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
Of course, the first thing I would like to do is restore faith in our citizens in the city government. They've got to be proud of where they live. They've got to be pleased that we're taking care of each tax dollar that we receive. In my opinion, the mayor is the chief administrative officer of the city. He provide the council with suggestions for things that need to go forward. Understanding that the council, of course, is the legislative body, but the working together has got to be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Shaw?
I'll agree some with all of them. Yeah, we've got to work together, but you got to have a council that will work with the mayor. The mayor can't do it all himself. And when you've got a split council and some of them working against you, I don't care what the mayor does. He can't do it all on his own. Council can't do it on his own. So yes, we've got to work together to restore faith in that. But on the other hand, as far as office, we run it ethically, morally, and honestly, as from the mayor's standpoint. Some of the things being caused is not by the mayor's office, but by the council themselves. So the council holds just as much a part in this dysfunction as the mayor does. So I have worked very hard in trying to communicate and talk with the council as much as possible. We've had council members that refuse to even send emails back to me at times. We've had them to refuse to come on to the floor that I work on, but I've reached out to them but not had anything in return.
Thank you, sir. The next question was submitted by Barbara Sokol of Dobbs Road. We citizens understand the hard financial choices our city leaders face. We also know how important it is to have a reason to support our leaders in these hard choices. It is difficult to put a monetary value on opportunities for our residents, such as parks and recreation and other community events. Although parks and recreation, community events, festivals, and sports tournaments might not always reflect an immediate return on the city's investment, citizens feel connected and proud to live here in Alexander City. How will you financially support programs for our citizens with understanding the intrinsic value to the city? Shall I repeat? Or paraphrase? A paraphrase, if you will. Thank you. Okay. How will you financially support programs for citizens of Alexander City that may not immediately produce the return on investment, such as recreation, parks, festivals, and sports tournaments? So supporting those events, but also using resources so that the citizens understand the benefit of said events, even if they don't necessarily produce an immediate visible return on investment, like things like roads and schools, etc. We will begin with Mr. Lamborne.
The city has a tourist fund that helps fund these activities throughout the city. As we can see over the past week, the Sun Festival came in, young professionals doing their groups on the Strand Park, all bring this community together. Also, there's a lot done with in-kind labor, in-kind equipment that's done to put these festivals and ideas together and make Alex City an appealing place to come. The tourists that come in, but not more than anything, it's for the citizens of Alexander City. Their parks and rec are all developed under city money that's benefited either through sales tax or through lodging taxes.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
Our city has a great reputation outside of Alex City, around the state, relative to our sportsplex. People are amazed when they come in and visit our football stadium, baseball, and all the activities at the sportsplex. That involves a lot of youth, a lot of children, and making that be a profit maker is not something that we ought to consider. That's money well spent. I do have a problem with limited participation in golf and the loss that have been generating over the years. That ought to break even, in my opinion, because it just does not attract many people as the sportsplex and the youth programs do.
Thank you. Mayor Shaw?
Okay, sportsplex is a great asset to our city. Everybody that comes to our sportsplex brags on how good it looks and the amount of things that we do off over there. But with a new soccer field, that's when we start bringing more people into town. And it will be completed for the fall season with the lights, weather permitting. But everything that we do does not make a profit over there. But it is things that we have to offer for our children. We've got to have a place for them to play ball, play baseball, wrestle, do the things that they might do. As it's been mentioned, the golf course. The golf course is at just about a break even at this point in time. The golf course is something that we must have in our city. It's something that draws people to town. We have people that drive up and down the road, see the golf course sign, stop. So everything that we do in the city does not make money at one certain time, but everything has to draw people to town. And if we draw people to town, maybe a chance that we get an industry off of somebody coming to town.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fuller?
Since everybody's touched on the golf course that's spoken thus far, golf course does not break even, but it's close. It's closer than it has been a long time. There are properties available there for purchase. We purchase those properties and put in a driving range. At that point, the golf course will break even, or maybe be a little bit to the positive. Again, I said earlier about the sportplex. It is a huge draw for recreational sports in our area. We can see tremendous tax revenues off of that. But under the current administration, our staffing level over there has been cut severely. Some of the infrastructure there needs rehabilitation. In order to spend money, or in order to make money, we have to spend money. We've got to invest again in the sportplex to bring it back to a level that will attract outside people. As far as community events, historically, any vendor that wanted to come to town, we waived those fees. It might be a minimal fee, but if we charge these vendors, that's putting more money in the coffers for the city to use to provide better services to the public.
Thank you. The next question was submitted by Rick Durden of Noble Street. Mr. Nabors, has stated that he will not take a salary if elected mayor. Mr. Nabors, please tell us your reasons for that. For the other 3 candidates, are you willing to match Mr. Nabors in not taking a salary? And if not, how can you immediately save the city $60,000 a year? We will begin. Do I need to repeat? No, okay. We will begin with Mr. Nabors.
What's the question? Why am I willing to give it up?
Why are you willing? What are your reasons for not taking a salary?
Because I want to be a truly public servant. God has been good to me. I don't need the salary. I just want to give it back to this community that's been so very, very good to me.
Mr. Shaw? Mayor Shaw?
No, I'm not going to give up the salary. I need the money. We had one state official that gave up his salary, and it didn't turn out very well for him. I think that, in time to take tax and all, we don't do it for the money anyway. If you knew the full amount that the mayor gets when he accepts a job, there's a lot more activities go on at night, day, weekend, and you take money out of your pocket a lot of times to be going and participating in all this business. If you participate, and I think if you're interested in that, you're gonna take a salary, and you're gonna go, and you're gonna be interested in the things that's going on throughout the city, and you're gonna do your best to attend each and every one of them things, everything possible. It's not a weekend hardly that ever goes by. There's not an event. There's something to go to either on a Saturday or Sunday, and sometime on both of those. So, yes, I think the mayor should take a salary for what he does, and he'd be more interested in the city.
Thank you. Mr. Fuller?
I'm going to try to be as positive as I can on this response. No negativity toward Mr. Nabors. Life has been good to him. He doesn't need the money. I understand that. But I'm the only one on this stage that would take a pay cut for this position. Just lost my train of thought. That's not good being up on stage. As Mr. Shaw said, we do have a public official that said he would not take a salary. Look where we are with that state. In my opinion, and again, no negativity intended, but to state that you would not take a salary for the position is a simple way to get votes. I'm in favor of that.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
I'm honored by Mr. Nabors' gesture to give up his salary. I can't give up my salary. I'm taking a major cut for me to go to work for the city. But it's my desire to help this city, to be a public servant, to work with good. There's no way that a mayor can work the hours that they're supposed to work for the money that they're given. So yes, I will take the salary. Where I'm going to save that $60,000, Mr. Durkee, I have no idea until I get there and we can look and see if we can find $60,000 to give back to the city.
Thank you. Our final audience or citizen submitted question comes from Walters of Moose Road. How do you intend to rebuild the city's reserves since it has been depleted by using those reserves for numerous adjustments that have been made to the budget over the past few years? Shall I repeat? All right, Mayor Shaw?
Repeat the question.
Okay. How do you intend to rebuild the city's reserve, since it has been depleted by using the reserve for numerous adjustments that have been made to the budget over the past few years?
The reserve has not been depleted. That would be a false statement saying that the reserve has been depleted. It will build up because we do make money off of a couple of utilities. It does cost us some money to operate the sewer department, but we do make money off of the reserve, and that's what goes into the reserve, some of the money that's made off of that. So it is not depleted. The city is in good shape financially. We've not had any numbers since 2013. We've not had an audit or cash reconciliation. We've not had a statement, but we have cut back. Last year we cut the budgets, capital budgets by 67%. We cut the
operating budget was 7.5%, and the revenue is up this year, so we feel like the city is still in good shape, and it's viable now, and the reserve funds have not been depleted.
Thank you. Mr. Fuller?
Well, first of all, I know it's not time for rebuttal, but I don't know how Mr. Shaw can say the city's in good financial shape when we haven't had an audit in 2 years. We don't know how much money we actually do have. For me to build up a reserve, I would cut wasteful spending in city government. Having been on the city council, having been a city employee for 8 years, I know the waste is out there, and I know where a lot of it is. If I'm elected mayor, I will tighten the belt on city spending, and if necessary, we would cut positions through attrition, and we would save substantial amounts of money that way as well.
Thank you. Mr. Lamborne?
In listening to the city budget hearings last year, it was brought up on paper that the city would borrow $2.5 million from reserves. Now, saying that, it's on paper. Where we are, we do not know. Until the audits are done, we can't figure out, did we have to use $2.5 million of our utility reserves to handle it? Year before, $700,000 on paper was taken out of the general fund reserve. There again, we don't know. We must find out if the financials and how they stand. Plenty of ways to cut corners, enhance the operations of the city, can always save money. Little by little, these reserves can be put back into place.
Thank you. Mr. Nabors?
To be honest, I don't know what the reserve requirements are, what the goals are for this. It's established by the city council and city government. The audits have not been completed, but I would expect the financial conditions of the city to be okay based upon the reconciliation that I've seen of cash receipts and cash disbursements. But that's just a hope on my part relative to the ability of the city to pay its bills on time. I think the revenue sources are sufficient for us to be in better shape than what we might perceive to be.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen. That concludes this segment of our forum.
Thank you, Dr. King. That takes us to our third and final 5-minute break. When we come back, we'll have closing statements and rebuttals from all of the candidates. More of the Lake Martin Young Professionals Mayoral Forum coming your way right after this.
Specialize in helping families and individuals like yourself in the Alexander City and Lake Martin communities. With over 20 years experience with State Farm and a dynamic team of licensed professionals, I am committed to helping you manage the risk of everyday life. And we not only consider it an honor, but a privilege to assist you in meeting your insurance and financial services needs. Whether you call in, click in, or walk in, I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
You can learn to DIY just about anything.
Today, I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself in a court of law. It's important to wear a fancy suit. That way, if they ask for evidence, you can point to it and say, Exhibit A.
After all, some things are better left to the pros, like buying a home, because without an expert to guide you, you could be headed for trouble.
If you're backed into a corner, throw out a few objections. Works every time.
So DIY yourself a favor and get Realtor. Head to Realtor.com/GetRealtor today. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
Lake Martin Young Professionals is a group that coordinates, collaborates, and promotes events around the Lake Martin area that are social, volunteer, or informational in nature. Our board connects young Lake Martin with activities that will help to improve the careers, social lives, and character of our members. We would love for you to be a part of our group and to help grow the young professional community of Lake Martin. Visit LakeMartinYP.com or Facebook.com/Lake Martin Young Professionals to stay informed of upcoming events or to join.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Martin Young Professionals 2016 Alexander City Mayoral. Presented by YP, Channell State Farm Insurance, LNG, and Lake Martin Area Association of Realtors. We'll now allow each candidate 5 minutes to wrap things up. Candidates can use this time for a closing statement or to address anything that was said during the forum or anything that they feel like they did not answer well. Candidates will give their closing statements in the reverse order of their introductions, which was determined by a draw last week at a pre-forum briefing.
Thank you, Brett. All right, gentlemen, if you can, thank you. All right, so again, you have 5 minutes for your closing remarks and or rebuttals, and we will go in the reverse order. So we will begin with Mr. Nabors.
Okay, thank you. As I've said before, my top priority is restoring the faith in our citizens in the city government that we're subject to talking about tonight. But at the same time, I acknowledge the good work being done to provide the service that we take for granted sometimes. Fire, police protection, utilities, recreation, and so on. Restoring the faith of our citizens will be done with proven leadership and the ability to foster teamwork and fiscal responsibility in an environment of full transparency. I will call on my fellow associates of the past, including a new council person in that group, to help me speed up the process of creating an action plan. A review of all reports recently done by outsiders will also be done as soon as possible. I will work with the City Council to achieve the best working relationship possible. As I often say to new people I meet, you do not have to win my trust, you can only lose it. It has worked wonders in getting relationships started on the right foot. A great deal of attention will be given to long-term planning associated with infrastructure of all kinds, community planning in our schools. We must get our financial house in order to gain the respect of prospective new businesses and bond rating agencies. And I think I have the best qualifications to do just that. I have spent 50 plus years serving this community in one way or another. And I'm asking for your support to allow me to be your mayor. And you can keep the nearly $250,000 in normal pay for 4 years. And my intent was not to buy one vote. I resent the remark made by the mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lamborne?
To begin with, I'd like to thank my family and supporters during this election. I would also like to thank the Lake Martin Young Professionals along with the Central Alabama Community College for hosting this mayoral forum. Most of all, I'd like to thank everyone in attendance and those viewing on mass media. Your interest in this forum shows me that Alexander City is still alive. It is pivotal to Alexander City. It can create a new beginning for our city. In order for our city to move forward, we must have a leader that is capable of unifying our city government. A leader that's willing to go out in the neighborhoods to discuss their problems. A leader that is willing to work alongside our city employees. We have great city employees and a great community, both in need of a progressive leader that can move our city forward. I am that leader. We must work together. The mayor, the city council, the Chamber of Commerce, the Lake Martin Economic Development Alliance, Main Street, the school systems, and groups like Russell Lands who contribute to this area must all work toward a common goal, and that is the betterment of Alexander City. We must be united in our efforts to achieve these goals. This unity must also reflect the social aspect of our city. We must find a way to bring the minorities' ideas into the plans for our city. Without unity, we cannot begin to solve the problems of this city. This begins with leadership. As your mayor, I will surround myself with the best employees, ones that have the best interests for our city. Alexander City has a lot of problems, and my plan as your mayor is to start at the top, unifying our city. Without this, nothing else can be accomplished. We must define our city finances, making sure that the records are accurate and up to date. Only then can we move on to things that should have been at the top of our priority list. The schools, the arts, shopping, restaurants, and our infrastructure. These things are the fundamental foundation of a viable and diverse economic development. This means new, diverse industry, good jobs with good pay. As your next mayor, I plan to have a transparent government. I will ensure that the people of Alex City will be informed of the actions of the city. Let's take pride in Alex City once more. The choice in 2016 is clear. Change or remain the same. My name is Mark Lamborne, and I'm asking for your vote for mayor because I want to be your next mayor. It will be a step in the right direction. Good night, and may God bless.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fuller?
Good evening. Again, thank you all for coming out tonight. I do not have any prepared remarks, so I will not use my entire 5 minutes. Originally it was 3, but we're all gluttons for punishment. We all agreed to 5. What were we thinking, right? I would like to take this time to comment on some of the mayor's opening remarks, where he applauded and brought out a lot of his current administration's achievements. What many don't know is a lot of those achievements were started by the last administration. The ATRIP funds for road paving, a lot of that was started on the last city administration led by the Honorable Mayor Barbara Young. I was proud to be a part of that. We have to continue working together as a city to move Alex City forward. All the negativity's got to stop. We've got to have good working relationships between the mayor, the council, and the city employees. Whenever a situation arises where you got a substantial amount of employees lay out of work because they don't agree with what's going on, that should be proof positive that we have problems. Do we agree with it? No, but we've got to fix what we got messed up. We do have a good group of city employees, but they can be better. There stands improvement. We can have improvement everywhere in our lives. Like I said earlier, I will cut wasteful spending. We've got a tremendous amount of wasteful spending in every department. I will work closely with the department heads to possibly merge some of the departments where we can cut out top management positions within those departments. If we can save money by consolidation, then that's what we need to do. I may look at changing work hours for some city employees. If we have a group of 6 working in the department, and we put 3 working Monday through Thursday, and then Friday through Sunday, we're providing week-long service to the citizens of Alex City. And in doing so, we can cut that fleet in half. So there's ways to save money. We've just got to think outside the box and be positive in our approach to how we handle day-to-day business. Again, I appreciate you all coming out tonight. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my family for the support that they've given me throughout this first part of the election. At the end of the day, it's all about family. And recently, my son went on a church youth retreat, came back with wonderful news. He accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior, and this coming Sunday, he's supposed to be baptized. It doesn't get any better than that.
Well, I think that's the best news we've heard tonight. Somebody got saved. That's one more that don't have to go to hell, and he's on the way to heaven. Tell your son he's made the best choice of his life. And I'd like to tell Mr. Nabors he's not taking the salary. He might as well get ready to get off his pocketbook, because he's going to buy enough tickets and cake auctions and beauty supply, sponsor somebody, Boston Bucks or something. It's somebody that you know every day. But that's part of the mayor's job, to participate and help do some of these things. But I would like to thank the young professionals for hosting this informative forum tonight, and to each of you coming out. I thank you. In closing, I'm asking you to continue to support. I ask you for your continued support and your vote on August 23rd. I realize that bad news and negative news sells newspapers, and it also has people watching TV. But I do not feel that these damaging stories should be allowed to overshadow the achievements and positive steps that we have taken in recent years. I hope I have been able to highlight just some of the optimistic events and assure you that there are many more to come. Also, it is said that so much of the positive that has happened in our city never made the front page of the paper, and many news stories that turned out to be not true was never retracted in print. They may have been retracted online, but only after the damage had been done. This is unfortunate, as I feel the positive news should take precedent over anything negative. As your mayor, I have no doubt that there will be hard times ahead in the next 4 years. I have no doubt that we will have to make difficult decisions in order to help our city prosper. Let the message go from the meeting tonight that I am committed to continuing to put all my energy to achieving an excellent result for the citizens of Alexander City. So I ask you to vote Charles Shaw on August the 23rd. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Brett?
Thank you, Dr. King. That concludes the 2016 Lake Martin Young Professionals Alexander City Mayoral Forum. Thanks, obviously, again, to all the candidates for participating. Thanks to Dr. King for battling through a little cold. We appreciate it. Thank you for handling the moderating duties. Thank you to Dr. Susan Burr and Central Alabama Community College for allowing us to host this event here. Thanks to Lake Broadcasting for carrying this live on TV, radio, and online. And thanks again to all of our sponsors, Channell State Farm Insurance, LNG, and Lake Martin Area Association of Realtors. And a special thanks to all of you that showed up tonight and all of you that watched online, on TV, and listened on radio. Remember, please go out and vote on August 23rd. And good night, everybody. God bless.
The 2016 Alexander City Mayoral Forum, live from the Betty Carroll Graham Center on the campus of Central Alabama Community College. Presented by Lake Martin Young Professionals, Lake Martin Area Association of Realtors, Lee Marketing Group, and State Farm Agent Karen Channell.